Welcome to episode 5 of Sip and Tell with M and L.
Hi, this is Mo.
And this is your host, L. In the last episode, a lot has happened and everybody's on their honeymoon. So we're going to jump right into the morning after conversations. So this episode kind of went into a quick flashback with Lindsay and Mark. Lindsay had her argument with Elijah and Katina. And Mark decided to say something about her having 3 bottles of wine.
He did, right? They actually consummated their marriage last night, so they kind of woke up kind of talking about that, and Lindsay was full of smiles. And yeah, Mark did tell her to stop drinking so much and pointed out that she had 3 bottles of wine. Not sure who can hold 3 bottles of wine, but hey.
So, I don't know if that means like 3 actual bottles of wine, but if they were on a plane, then it must have been those little tiny bottles of wine.
I don't think it happened on the plane, because this was like
they got into an argument after they got off that plane that it was happening when they landed. So she had to drink on that plane.
Right. Okay.
So I don't think the bottles were that big, but I don't honestly think it takes that much to get Lindsay drunk. I don't know, because she's already strange on her own.
I think it takes a lot to get her drunk.
Okay. Yeah. Well, she's strange on her own, so it probably wasn't even the bottle talking. It was just her, who she is. So Mark kind of made it. I guess he was telling her about herself, trying to do it in the nicest way possible. The things that she say can come off really rude, and you're always way up here. You need to bring it down here.
Right.
That's pretty much what he said. Mm-hmm. Do you have any more on them?
I have nothing more on that one.
So the next couple was Jasmina and Michael in their morning after conversations, and that was not so good. Right.
They were having a conversation about the disagreement that they had earlier. I don't think she really looked at it as a disagreement, just we agree to not agree. Not really an argument. He called it an argument the day before, conflict or something, and she was like, yeah, no, we just agree to disagree. It's not really an argument. But yeah, that's kind of how he was looking at it. And, she brought up that he overthinks things, and so they discussed that in a little more detail.
Yeah, he is a bit of an overthinker. I'm the same way, or used to be the same way. So I kind of see where he's coming from when it comes to overthinking, but he also has to take into account it's only been 3 days.
Right. Yeah.
You need to just chill and kind of let things progress on their own instead of trying to rush into it. Like, we know you just got married at first sight, but some things still can come organically after. So...
yeah, and he said, he does that because he doesn't want to mess things up. And she pointed out, well, you doing that is going to be the thing that messes it up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Honestly, think she's over it. Like, him doing that was just a huge turnoff for her, and I think she's going to stick to it, and I think she's done.
I think so, too. I think, with the sisters saying what they said, I think she's kind of had her eyes and ears open for it, and he's giving it to her. Maybe if they hadn't have mentioned it, she might have not known that that's what was happening. But since they did mention it, she's like, oh, this is what they were talking about. Okay. I don't want to have to deal with the Debbie Downer, but yeah.
Yeah. And so the next couple was Bitch and Chris. Sorry, Alyssa and Chris. Their conversation was pretty much, what was their conversation about?
They weren't in the same room, right?
Yeah,
so
they
had her conversation by herself in her room. She was saying,
I don't know what I did to deserve this.
Right, yeah. Why is this happening to me? I mean, I was just rolling my eyes.
Listen, he is not some curse, some witch put on you.
Yeah,
he's like a human being.
Her with Quasimodo or something.
He is not even that bad. I just don't understand why she has to be such a bitch about it.
Yeah. So, and he do not like her. Was in his room kind of saying, he didn't expect to be doing this alone, sleeping alone, and, he's on his honeymoon, and, bless his heart is all I can say about that.
Yeah, bless his heart. The next couple was Noi and Steve, a fan favorite.
So Noi was stating that she was talking to the producers. She thinks that sex is coming sooner than later. And Steve, was kind of talking about things he enjoys doing, like camping. And Noi was, she's not down with this. She's the type that likes to bathe her ass on a daily basis. And she didn't feel like she could do that while they were out camping. So, yeah.
Noi, such an interesting child. But Steve seems like he'll most likely try to make things work for her. So, instead of camping, you got glamping, where you have all of the necessities, but you're still kind of camping.
I don't think he's going to do it. I think he's going to want her to let loose and kind of live a little.
Maybe.
I can't say I blame her. I don't like
But I
camping
can see
either.
him trying to bend a little and then be like, yeah, so next time after this glamping thing, let's do some real camping. Mm-hmm. I think he'll try once. Yeah. Maybe. But yeah, because he likes to live life on the edge. He likes to do things on a whim. And if she can't bend to that, or at least do it every once in a blue moon with him, it'll definitely be something big for him.
Well, his dad did call him a vagabond.
Call him what?
A vagabond. A vagabond. A vagabond?
What's that?
To use dad? Like, almost like a hobo. Somebody that just kind of lives freely without the attachments of modern life type. Yeah. So.
Interesting. Never heard of that.
Yeah.
The next couple was Katina and Olajuwon. Do you have any thoughts on those two?
Yeah, just, their morning conversation was mostly Katina talking about how much he sweats. Like, he still doesn't have a good cuddle game, but it sounds like that's probably a good thing because Katina was talking about he sweats really bad and he should get some Botox shots to control the sweat. And so I was like, ew, because she said the whole side of the bed is wet that he's on. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
That's gross.
She put that on out there.
I mean, I understand some people can't control their sweat, so, it is what it is, but, you can't get mad at nobody if they don't want to cuddle with you, because I definitely don't want my man's sweat.
That's what she was saying.
In my hair.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I just, side note, I just think it was so funny. I was on Twitter and somebody said, if there's one thing Katina gonna do is to keep that wig on. She said she gonna keep that wig on. She don't wrap her hair. And I mean, if you black, you kind of just know she wearing a wig.
Right.
And she ain't taking that thing off for a damn.
No, she is not.
No wrapping, no nothing. But I just thought that was funny.
All right.
So after the couples did their little conversations in the bed, they had their own little activities. So the first couple to have an activity was Lindsay and Mark, and they were making drinks. And Lindsay seemed very smitten by Mark the Shark doing his little shakety shake, mixity mix, and his pina coladas.
Right. She was definitely giving him the sexy eyes, which makes me think Mark the Shark put it down in the bedroom. Yeah. And then after that, they kind of talked about some of their past dating, who they dated and how that turned out. She didn't have a whole lot to say. He named off a few types of women he dated, and he did state that he dated an over drinker before. I guess that means she was a drunk, a wino. I don't know. Over drinkers.
I also think he's saying that because he's trying to drop as many hints as he can to her. Like, hint, hint, I don't like it when women or people that I date drink too much. Because hint, hint, you may do it as well. Wink, wink, wink.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that was that. Mark is trying to drop a lot of hints. So her drinking may be a little bit more excessive than we are seeing on screen. Yeah. The next couple was Bitch and Chris. And Alyssa, they did the paddle boat thing, and she was actually enjoying it, having fun.
I couldn't believe she showed up.
Yeah. But the paddle boat activity was fun on its own, but the fun really came when they sat down and they started talking, and she said that her soulmate, based on a psychic that she went to, had nice eyes and a freaking eagle tattoo.
Right. And my question to her is, if your psychic is so good, why are you on Married at First Sight? Sounds like your psychic can do the job for you. Yeah. She seems to really have a lot of faith in this psychic that if any man approaches her that doesn't have those attributes, it's not her soulmate. So, yeah. She also said something about, we're going to see where this is going. So I don't know who she's trying to fool. We know she dislikes Chris for whatever reason. But, yeah, it's like, who do you think you're kidding here?
Yeah. And Chris, he laughed at her because when she was talking about it, he was like, like, yeah, he kind of know. He's like,
it was hilarious. It was pretty funny.
He's like, I'm done with this.
Yep. And one thing that they did talk about on the after party with Keisha Knight Pullum was that they overheard that it wasn't actually an eagle that the psychic said. It was a lion. And we know Steve has a lion tattoo on his chest. But yeah, so they said she changed it up to an eagle so that there was no confusion and, no feelings hurt or anything like that.
Whatever.
But yeah.
So after Alyssa and Chris, we have Katina and Olajuwon. They went to the gym, and Olajuwon was kind of like, this is me and my element, this is my element, this is this and that, just trying to be all big and macho. And he was like going hard on Katina with their exercises and saying, it's over if you can't do this. He was being a real asshole.
He was, absolutely. He acted like she just showed up for Orange Theory or something. Like, y'all are on a honeymoon. Mm-hmm. Why are you pushing her that hard in the gym? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that she's trying to do things, support my man, because I too am a victim. Where I met someone and I was like, yeah, I'll do burpees on the beach with you.
Right.
I was like, what the hell was I even thinking?
Right.
But he also did not respond the way Olajuwon did. If I was tired, he'd be like, yeah, you can sit down, boo. Like, he was...
Yeah,
it wasn't anything like that.
She mentioned that she wasn't happy about it later, but it's like, you should have mentioned that then to him. She should have stood up to him right then.
Yeah, I think at one point, though, she did say, like, I don't like that, or I don't want to do that, because she was fed up at one point. So, yeah, there'll be more about that one, because they do talk about it a little bit later on in the episode. So for the next couple, we have Jasmina and Michael. So they went to the little cabana pool, and they kind of stayed on the same topic of the whole agree to disagree.
Yeah.
The sisters, like, they told me this, and, we are not, they just are not on the same page.
Right. And, she asked him why he's that way, why he has such a negative attitude. And he said, because of the loss that he's had in his family. He lost his father when he was young, his mom, his brother, and he's just waiting on the next negative thing to happen. But yeah, you just can't live that way, man, and expect someone that's a naturally bubbly person or upbeat person to deal with you bringing their spirits down because that's how you're feeling.
Yeah, like, you just can't be pessimistic the entire time. Pessimistic people, like, you need to look in a mirror.
Right.
If you're listening right now and you're pessimistic, think to yourself, does everything I say, is it negative? And if so, you may be pessimistic.
All right, moving
on. For more
on.
information on pessimism.
Enough. The couple's outing.
Oh, no, we still have Noy and Steve with their picnic. So
that's right, yeah.
Noy and Steve, they had a little picnic, and Noy kind of dropped a little baby bomb saying that she thinks she's fallen in love with Steve, and he kind of just, he's like, that one meme where the guy, they pan the camera over to the African guy, and he's like, okay. Steve was also like, okay.
I almost felt like the production put her up to doing that because she had left to go to the restroom or something, and when she was coming back, he was kind of like, well, what's up? So clearly they had stopped her and asked her a few questions. Right.
Nudge. We need the drama. But it's obvious that she is falling for him because she is a hopeless romantic.
They hung her out to dry though because it was super awkward after she said it, and he just did not reciprocate. And I think they knew that was going to happen. But good for him for not saying it just for the sake of saying it. They also talked about while they were at their little picnic, talk about pooping around each other, and that was just like, okay, that's TMI. We don't need to know that, but
yeah. So the next part was the group taking a trip to a little island, and they all rode on a boat there. So not much happened on the way there in the boat, but they did split up the boys and the girls. So the boys kind of chilled on the island while the girls stayed on the boat. The boys were kind of just talking about how things were going with each of the women and the things that they have said and even the things that they did. I know Steve talked about Noy saying that she was falling in love with him, and he was honest about his response. And
well, on the ride over on the catamaran, Elijah was asking everyone who consummated their marriage, like that's his business. But I just don't think I like him.
Oh yeah, he did ask that. Didn't he
did. He asked them. Yeah. So they were going around and kind of discussing that. And Lindsay was on the boat after they got to the island, telling them how she's in love with Chris. In love with Mark the Shark, and at the same time, Mark the Shark was over on the beach saying Lindsay's too much. It's just like one of those things. Let's see. Oh, and then Lindsay and Katina.
Wait, but Olajuwon also said that he was purposely testing Katina at the gym. He told his boys that, which reminds me of the things that men listen to, like on these TikToks and podcasts.
Yeah,
like
but you have to. Yeah,
you know, Lowe's and Home Depot has been very empty ever since men found out podcasts and TikTok was a thing. I think you guys should go back there, because the things that I've been hearing and seeing from these grown men is not. I'm not feeling it. But so before the girls got into the big heated argument, we do know that Lindsay asked Alyssa about her and Chris.
she did.
And Alyssa was like, she gave her a little roundabout lie of an answer, and then she was like, I want to move on.
Yeah.
From this. And so they moved on from it. Lindsay kind of said her piece about her and Mark. She was like, I'm in love with him, yada, yada, yada. And then that's when she said that, there are times where she's triggered by something.
Right.
And then that triggered Katina.
Yeah.
Because she was specifically talking about being triggered at the airport, which got them into the argument. And then Katina was like, I'm going to stop you right there. So you go ahead and talk about Katina.
Well, I just felt like Katina was waiting for an opportunity to get into Lindsay's shit, and she got it. Yeah. I mean, she was using all of her fingers, all of them, to tell Lindsay off. She called her a manipulator, that she's sneaky, that she's rude. It was pretty intense. And then she walked away. And Alyssa, like a little puppy dog, jumps up and follows. It's like a hype man type situation. And I was just kind of like, if Alyssa would give Chris like a tenth of that attention she's giving Katina, Chris would be a happy dude. But
yeah, I think Katina's take, like what she said was not a lie, but the way she said it was really messed up. And I'm not painting her as an angry black woman. She got every right to be upset with the way Lindsay kind of played victim. But she came at her kind of just like with unnecessary stuff. Like, I don't care if you were triggered at 2, 4, 10. You're a grown woman. Yeah. Like, it's beyond just being a grown woman. It's about being just a good person and knowing the climate that we're in. So if you're saying this about a black man or reacting this way just because you're upset that somebody snapped back at you, then you need to understand the climate. And that's all she had to say, because Keisha Knight Pulliam on the little after show, she said it in a very cohesive, comprehensive way.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure Lindsay had something to say, but she didn't become combative because, it wasn't coming at her. It was like, I'm going to tell you how it is.
Right. Yeah.
Tell you why it was a problem, and then you just take what you will with that.
She did a great job in explaining it to her.
Yeah.
And Jasmina tried to give her a little bit of advice on the boat as well. About
Jasmina also told her,
But I did feel like Katrina went overboard with that one. I thought it was unnecessary. At this point, you guys have already had the disagreement. So what if Lindsay's over there babbling about being triggered? It's kind of like, you're not there for her. You're there for yourself, your husband, y'all having a good time. I would have just ignored it. I mean, continue having a good time.
Let's have fun on our honeymoon. Like, we're past that. But also, Katina left. And then she came back and she fussed some more. Yeah. And then she left again with bitch following behind her.
Yep.
So it's like, and no, I'm not going to call Alyssa by her name because I don't think she deserves it. So I'm going to be calling her whatever the hell I feel like. Since she want to treat Chris like crap, I'm going to talk to her like crap. Not unless there's something that's going on behind the scenes that we just don't see.
Which I can't
imagine. She would have said something by now. I just don't want another Mirla incident, because she's now telling everybody what happened after the wedding. I mean, not after the wedding, but after they said, yeah, I'm not going to divorce you.
Right.
So sometimes the cameras, they a certain way. But if her mom is coming for her too,
right,
that was enough.
Yeah.
So on the trip back, they all decided to play Never Have I Ever. And we learned a few things like Jasmina being arrested one time. Steve cheated, which kind of threw Noy back. But the star of the show was
Elijah Wan. Yeah. His Isaac ways, right? Talking about sleeping with a mother and daughter.
He was so proud of it.
He was so
why?
Proud.
What are you so proud?
That's something
in front of your wife.
Never tell anyone. Yeah, because if it was my husband, I would have felt a whole different way about him.
And
whole different way.
Everyone was looking at him so disgusted. Like, what the hell? And he's like, and it's not gross. It's not about, like, he trying to really backtrack.
Justify
it's not
it.
a bad thing. It's not gross. It's not this. It's not that. Dude, yes, it is. Because, I mean, it's just so disrespectful.
And to me, the fact that he's proud about it tells me he hasn't grown up and he hasn't
not
changed
at all.
Right? Yeah, because he's still proud of it. And then he went into asking the other couples, if your spouse brought someone to you for a threesome, would you do it? Mm-hmm. Right? You know, and he's like, you know, everyone else said no, and he goes, yeah, I would do it. You know, why wouldn't I? If you brought a, you know, it's. Yeah, I saw him the first day for who he was. Hopefully Katina is seeing it as well. I don't think she is, because he smoothed it over later that night and got right in there with her. I think he understood what had happened, that she probably, you know, after he really thought about, like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have said all that, because that was a lot to put on somebody's lap. I think any of the other wives, if their husband had said that, I just think they would have totally turned them off, and they would have been like, yeah, I'm good. I don't.
Noy would have cried.
She would have.
That's what she did. And she did it this time, too. She cried in this episode, too. I don't remember when, but she did. Noy would have definitely cried. And then, you know, the rest would be, like, petty or something. But, yeah, that was a lot. So, Elijah One, keep some of that shit to yourself. After that, they had the dinner dates, and they started off with Steven and Noy. And Noy did kind of just mention the whole cheat thing. Just a little bit.
She did. Yeah. But didn't she also confess that she cheated also?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't pay attention to these two. Like, I'm so invested in going after certain couples. I'm kind of just going to leave Steve and Noy to you. So if you see anything special, unless they give me drama, but for right now, I'm going to just let you handle it. So I don't know. Did she say that?
She did. She said when she was 18 or 19 that she had cheated on her boyfriend, and it left her with a bad feeling, that she didn't know how to tell him she no longer wanted to be in, and she ended up cheating. Steve said he had the same experience. Basically, that he was very young when it happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was about it. I think they kind of talked about her being in love or something very briefly as well.
Okay. So the next dinner date was Jasmina and Michael. And their dinner date, once again, was that same damn discussion, talking about this and that. But this time, but Michael added on to it, saying that you cut me off. Lifetime replayed it. She did not cut him off. He quite literally paused as if he was waiting for her to say something.
Right.
So how you gonna sit there and get mad at her because she added? Like, I don't get it.
I don't either. And yeah, he wanted her to apologize, and her apology was, "I'm sorry that you felt that way," and he felt like that's not an apology. And she was like, I'm not going to apologize for something I didn't do, that I don't feel like I did. And I don't blame her. And, you know, you can't own something you didn't do. And I'm glad she didn't. I'm glad she stuck to her grounds. And she was just like, no, I'm not having it. And then she kind of looked off into the sky, and he was asking, well, what are you thinking about? And she was like, that I need another drink, which I thought was hilarious. But that was about it for those two.
Yeah. So... And I understand when people are like, that's not an apology, but that's for certain situations. So if somebody does do something that they obviously were in the wrong, and then they sit there and say, I'm sorry that you felt that way. Yeah. That's gaslighting, number one. Yeah. Number two, that's basically saying, I'm not going to apologize for it, even though, because I don't want to be the bigger person. I don't want to.
Right. It's on you for feeling that way. It's not for me. On me.
Sorry
it's on you.
That way. Yes. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know. So it would have worked in that situation, but it didn't, because she ain't do nothing wrong. So I'm glad she stood her ground as well. Yep. So the next day, you have
Elijah Wan and Katina.
What did Elijah and Katina do?
They went to lunch. They had a lunch date.
They did have a lunch date. What happened at the lunch date?
Katina, was telling him about the catamaran and her telling Lindsay off. He seems very proud of her for being. Something is just off. Something is not right. Yeah. He's like, she's starting shit in my honor, and I'm happy about that. It's like, no, that's nothing to be proud of.
Yeah, like this honor thing, using words like honor,
right?
Something is just not right. Like, I'm gonna pinpoint it. I'm gonna get it. I don't know when, but I'm gonna get it.
He brought up, the conversation about the mother and the daughter, and about the threesome, and then he was like, I don't want to go there, and it's like, okay, well, why did you bring it up if you don't want to go there?
Yeah.
Katina says she doesn't like to share, blah blah blah, and then she kind of off on her own. She was like, well, that was his past, and it has nothing to do with our future, and it's like. Yeah, it clearly has a lot to do with your future if he's still talking about it so proudly. He is loud and proud talking about the stuff he did as Isaac. It's like it's his fantasy, his thing that he doesn't want to let go of. He just feels like that's the best of him.
I am who I am.
Yes.
That's what he's saying. I am who I am, and I'm proud of it.
Yes.
It's like a freaking medal. Like, what are you so... Ugh.
Yeah.
So gross. Next was Witches Wart and Chris. They went snorkeling.
Well, he went snorkeling.
He went snorkeling while the Witches Wart stood on the side of, stood on the beach, and she kind of just watched him. And y'all,
no, she didn't watch him the whole time.
She didn't watch him the whole time, but when she did, she was like, he took off his shirt, and I was just... He's
definitely not my type.
He's definitely not my type. And I think it's safe to say that. I think it's okay to say that he's just not my type. Mm-hmm. But, when he took off his shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her belly was sticking out.
It's like, girl, have you looked in the mirror? One thing I'm not going to do is shame a woman. But in this case, she really needed to know about herself.
Right.
From the front, she looked like a skinny mini. But from the side, she has a pudge.
Yeah.
Doesn't make you any less attractive. Just, own up to it. Don't sit there and talk about somebody else when you are not, a freaking 10 out of 10 yourself, I guess. I don't know where she's getting this from. How you gonna judge somebody else's body when your body is damn near the same, just in a woman's form? So she really is trying me. So she ended up walking off the beach. And then she went inside. She started eating, talking to the producers, talking about, I'm just uncomfortable. I'm so uncomfortable. And I called my mom, and she pissed me the fuck off because, I'm just a good person. And she's saying that I'm coming off a certain way. And it's just I've only been nice to these people. Girl, shut up.
She's literally the nicest
literally.
person. She kept saying literally. I am literally the nicest person.
I am the nicest bitch you will ever meet. What movie is that from?
I have no idea.
There is a movie where she's like, no, it's not a movie. It's from Jersey Shore. Yeah, Jersey Shore in the Sammy intro. She's like, I'm the nicest bitch you'll ever meet. So she was just going in on him and saying these really god awful things, how she's just not comfortable. It's you were sitting beside him on the boat back and on the way there. Why are you all of a sudden disgusted? And he ties back to her, seeing him with his shirt off. That's not my type.
She's a brat.
She's acting like he's just so repulsive, like he's a freaking toad. And I'm like, if I could just...
She's a brat. Yeah.
Yeah. So she makes me sick. But she was crying, and she just flat out said, I don't like him.
She did.
She flat out said, I don't like him.
Right. Oh, the other thing, they asked her what would she rather be doing, and she said home or not here or something. And I was like, what? Give her a ticket and send her there, please.
Yeah. Get her on the first thing smoking.
Yes.
Let her go.
Please, because I'm tired of wasting my eyes on it. She's taking up my time, my precious time that I can't get back. I don't want to watch her. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, she earned her name as the bitch.
Okay.
So we have Noy and Steve. They were at the pool, and it was just a little nice time. They're into each other. It's no secret that they probably gonna hunch soon.
Yes, they were definitely up close and personal. So
they both made it very clear. Even in when they were talking to himself, because he was talking to the camera, talking about, she has a nice body, and so yeah, that's gonna happen very soon if it hasn't that night. The next couple was Jasmina and Michael. They had a dinner, and of course they were arguing, and because I'm kind of tired of talking about them and their stupid argument,
It's the same one. It's the same argument. We can move on.
Yeah,
he did apologize, and noted that his sisters have told him about his behavior, and that past relationships, it has caused some issues.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Jasmina's legit, her concerns about him is legit. If the sisters, if the sisters said it, then it is so.
Yeah, and he can acknowledge it, so it's more than true.
I don't think she accepted his apology, though. I think she's just over it at this point.
I
think
too.
She doesn't want to have to work to make a grown man feel comfortable with himself and enjoy life, right? Nobody should have to do that. You just wake up and enjoy life. You got another day here, so.
I feel like she's kind of just low-key, like, I'm going to keep playing nice on this camera, and then when we get to decision day, I'm going to let you know. Like, I'm just... My heart's not completely in it.
Yeah.
And I did try, and I did put my all into it. I tried talking to you one-on-one, being open and honest, but it's just not working because you keep doing the same thing with the same tendencies. I'm calling it.
You calling it?
I'm calling it right there.
I think she'll play nice as well, but I do also think she's going to challenge him every time he goes down.
Oh, she is. Yeah, because she does challenge him all the time.
Absolutely. And he doesn't really like that. So, which is probably, if he does have a temper or aggressive behavior, that's going to make that even worse. That she is willing to challenge him and say, I don't agree with that. And that's all she's really saying is, I don't agree with that. And he doesn't like that.
Yeah, he punched one hole in a wall, and it's done. So we have Mark and Lindsay. They should have been the ending couple because they had Katina and Elijah on last, but I guess we'll just go on to Mark and Lindsay. So Mark and Lindsay were at a dinner, and this was so good. Like, I just did not expect all this funniness to happen. Like, it was serious, but it was also funny.
It was.
So you got Mark sitting here with his big old eyes, the way he always looked like a deer in the headlights. And he's, Lindsay, she already looked a little sloshed, but she's, feeling herself. She in her dress, titties out, makeup done. Like, I'm cute looking at my man. And Mark all of a sudden tells her, I think we should slow it down.
Right.
We should bring it down a notch. Like, bring it back. And, Lifetime put their music, boom, that drop in there. And that's when all hell broke loose.
Like an episode of NCIS.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. And, he was trying to be nice about telling her. And Lindsay, took a moment to get her thoughts together, which I was proud. I was like, oh, snap. Everybody's been talking about Lindsay in that mouth. And she's actually taking a moment. Let me get my thoughts together before I speak. And she spoke and she said, I don't understand. What are you saying? And, when he... Eventually, the true Lindsay came out, though. She held it together as long as she could. And then she let it out and started telling him about him clogging up the toilets and farting in the bed and in the room and, eating with his mouth open. It was quite a bit. And I knew Lindsay was going for the kill. She was like, oh, you embarrassed me on TV? I'm about to embarrass your ass on TV.
Yeah, the face he was making, oh, my God. I mean, that was just 10 out of 10. Like, I can't get over it. So he's over here making this face while she's going in, and she's making direct eye contact with him. So you know she ain't playing.
Right.
Like, usually when people are a type of way, sometimes they'll look away. But when they serious, they're going to be up in your face, and they're going to look you dead in the eye and be like, okay, are we done here?
Right, yeah.
And so she gets up to leave, and of course he follows her. And when they get back to the suite, she's just straight up like, I don't want to talk anymore. Like, I'm done. And he's still trying to talk to her, but she's like, what did she even say?
She pretty much dismissed him. You can leave and go for a walk if you like to. He goes, okay, that's what I'm going to do.
He was trying to talk again, but she was like, I'm done. But, even though I'm not a fan of Lindsay, we are still kind of on her side for this one because, like, you sleep with somebody, you get this you play lovey-dovey all this time.
And then you're telling her that you're going to plan a romantic dinner. And she talked about this on the after party. She said they had sex 3 times that night. Yeah. That morning, that noon, they getting it in all day. And then this is how the night is going to end. Mm-hmm. With you telling me that you want to, after you done got all that. Mm-hmm. All that good stuff. No, that's not how it works. No.
Yeah.
You should have told her that because you knew she was too much before you slept with her. So you should have had that conversation well before you slept with her.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he was definitely trying to, I don't know what the point of him even saying to pull back for. It's like he was trying to go for pull back on the attitude with other people. I think he should have been specific and said that, but it came out as, we should pull back as well. So
let's
not do as much lovey-dovey stuff.
Yeah, that's what he said. So
that's
meant, pull back on the relationship. And I almost wonder if when they were on the beach, if he was talking to the other guys, and you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when you're around other people, and I don't even like that they sent them on the honeymoons together. Yeah. I think they would have had a much better chance of succeeding if they weren't all there together. All of them except Chris and Alyssa, because she just, she's going to be hurt.
But, I do see the reason why they do put them all together is because it's a unique experience. And then also it gives them a chance to see like where everybody else is when it comes to that. Like, we all just married a stranger.
Right.
So are you feeling those feelings yet, or are you taking it slow?
To me, they should do that after the honeymoon. You send them on the honeymoon and let them do their thing and get to know each other. Yeah.
Well, they should have had more separate activities.
Yeah.
And then maybe had like one group dinner.
Right. Yeah. Something like that. Because I felt like that dynamic put even more of a strain on the situation to me, because now you're not only dealing with your situation, you're dealing with these other situations. I mean, Michael and Jasmina, their biggest argument started with them talking about the other couples, right?
Yeah.
And then same with Mark and Lindsay. They probably wouldn't be in the place they are if it wasn't for the Katina and Olajuwon thing.
Right.
And I just felt like they should have. And then, the other people are just feeling awkward. The other couples are just like, oh, this is awkward. Steve and Noy are like, oh, here we go again. And then Chris and Alyssa, Alyssa's tagging along with everybody she can, grasp onto. And it's like, girl, go find you somebody or be with yourself.
Get a life.
Right, be with yourself. That's what you chose, so yeah.
Stupid hoe.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Not sure that we can say that, but okay.
I can say whatever I want. You know why? Because this is my podcast, and we are not for the children. All right, let me stop being so mean.
Okay, last one.
Katina and Olajuwon. They came into the suite, and he had like KD on there, so Katina's his last name,
right?
And so he was basically, and this is what really bothers me about him. It's like he was doing the most and doing so much to prove something, and he ain't proving it to her. He proving it to himself.
Right.
It's almost like, and I know I'm going out of the loop, but it just feels like he may have like a bet with somebody. Like, I ain't a player no more. So I'm going to prove to y'all I ain't no freaking player. Mm-hmm. And so he's doing all these pedals. He over here crying. Mm-hmm. And it gets very emotional for him. And she doesn't get emotional until she's talking one-on-one with the camera, saying that she was basically falling in love with him. But the words that they be saying, like the whole honor thing.
Yeah.
And then also saying, what else? Like, I don't know. It just seems so possessive and weird. Mm-hmm. It's gross.
Yeah.
And it just rubs me the wrong way. It rubs me so strangely.
Well, he rubs me the wrong way. And I hope Katina opens her eyes before she truly falls in love with him. But at the same time, I think you said earlier that you think she likes the toxicity. And I'm at that point too. It's like, I remember the first episode when I was saying, Katina's a good girl. She used to party, but now that she's over those things. Yeah, no. I agree. I think she likes it because truly, like the things he was saying on that catamaran, I would never look at him the same. I just wouldn't. Yeah, and I think any woman that's not into a certain type of a lifestyle or accepting of a man in that lifestyle wouldn't have felt the same about him, and that would have been pretty much the end of that.
Yeah.
He could have rubbed all the feet he wanted to rub. Still, no. Because I think you're a nasty person at that point. with no real morals or values. Like a mom and a daughter? Like, really, dude? Yeah.
Yeah. But that was pretty much episode 5. It was really heavy, packed with a lot of BS. Next episode, there's also going to be more BS, and it's going to be with Mo's favorite, since I cannot call her a whore anymore. Alyssa is going to pretty much go off on a tangent about Chris.
Doesn't she every episode?
She does every episode, but I feel like it just escalates each freaking time. And I'm like, what the hell is this man? He gotta be doing something behind closed doors. Like, what the hell?
I think it's because the producers are making her stay. And he's just getting that blowback because they're also telling him, I believe, and I don't know this to be true, but I think they're asking him to ask her. are you 100% out? You know, like, well, you need to ask her. You can't just ignore her. You have to ask her. And then that just upsets her even more because she's like, get it through your freaking head. You know?
But even if they're making her stay, I think she'd rather do stuff either with the other couples or on her own. But they're making her do it with him.
And they should, because that's what she came on
the point.
That is. Yep, that's what they came on the show for. So I think they should make her. And that's what's really boiling her on the inside. That's what's got her panties in a wad.
And usually, like, I wouldn't really go in this much on a woman. Like, even with the other girls, and like, there was probably only one other woman at least. There were plenty of men that I could not stand, that I called little bitches. But as far as women, there was only one.
Prior seasons?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like season 5. It was an old episode, but it was the blonde-headed girl.
She was being really
She was being really mean to the other guy.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
That was the only one that kind of just like made me over the edge. But this girl is showing so many dark colors on this show. I can't hold my tongue. Like, I'm gonna try to be a little bit more PG next episode. But like, as far as my feelings for her, Alyssa is an awful human being. And the fact that she has to keep telling people I'm a good person is good enough to say you're not a good person. Exactly. You got to remind everybody you're a good person. So I'm ready for the next episode. I'm gonna have to write a PG script so I can kind of keep my feelings at bay. But do you have anything to add for this?
I do not. I'm happy to have you back.
Yay. Well, since that is the end of the episode, I want to thank everyone for listening, and we will see you for episode 6. So signing off, this is Elle.
This is Mo.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.